All right, everybody. Hey, it's Dave, and it looks like we're live. So we'll wait for some eyeballs to get a hold of us. And great to see you guys here. Let's see if we can get some people loaded up on here, and we'll get started here shortly. All right. If you can hear me, comment, please. Let me know if you can hear me. It's been a while since I did this, guys. Wow. Guys, wow. All right, go ahead. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up or something like that. I see one thumbs up. I hear you. Okay, Donna, good. I'm going to be sharing with you something that, Doug, thank you. Appreciate that. Sheldon Schrock, loud and clear. Fantastic. I'm going to be sharing with you guys something that I've taught several times. I don't know if I ever did it here on a live, but I was going across it with one of my clients today, and I said, you know what, I have some. I'm able to do the Thursday call, so I'm trying to get back on that schedule a little bit. So stay tuned every Thursday. I'll always warn you, like that morning, if I'm going to be able to do it. But I read a book called The Serving Leader by John Stallworth and Kenneth Jennings. And then later, I actually got to meet John Stallworth and just didn't really get to know him too well, but just spent a little bit of time with him at a conference. But he talks about the 5 powerful actions to transform your team, business, and community. So a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about today comes from this book. And so I wanted to make that sure that he gets the credit for that right away. So Israel Zook, what's up, Dave? He says, hi, Dave. Fantastic. Great to see you, Israel. So what do y'all say we just jump right into it and I not take up a lot of your time? I just want to share with you basically the 5 actions of a serving leader. So what are those 5? Well, let me make sure that I can share the screen. I tried it before, but it didn't go live. So let me share the screen real quick, and I'll pull up my PowerPoint. Share screen. Boom. Share. All right. Slideshow. Play from the start. Okay. All right, so y'all should be able to see the screen. And I can't see your comments unless you comment, and I'll look on my phone to make sure you can see my screen, but I think we're good. You should see a picture of me with the Ziegler emblem. So if you can see me, just write in the comments real quick. Let me know that you can see the screen. I just want to make sure. But while I wait on that, let me just go ahead and advance the slides, and you can let me know if you can see it in the comments. I'm monitoring my phone just to make sure. Okay. All right. So this is from a course that I created probably 3 or 4 years ago called Shift Your Leadership, Your Life, and Your Legacy. And I think it's important that we learn how to shift. You know, if you want to go faster, you know what you have to do? You have to shift. If you want to go slower and have more depth, you have to shift up. And so it's really important to learn how to shift. And this word shift is kind of it's kind of my word. Basically, at the age of 13, I went to my dad and I said, Dad, I feel like I'm supposed to do something with my life. And he said, what do you think it is? And I said, I don't know, but I feel like a group of people are going this way, and my job is to help them shift to a different place. And so that's kind of the word that I chose to name this course. So shift your leadership, your life, and your legacy. And today we're going to talk about leadership. And if somebody can just let me know if you can see the screen, that would be really cool. Just comment, I can see the screen, or yes, I can see. That would be great. So, because only thing I see is my screen. I can't see you guys. So that's one thing I don't like about this program. All right. So what is leadership? You ever stop and ask yourself that question? What is leadership? And if I would could converse with you and can hear what you say, I'm sure that as many people that are listening, I'm sure that I would get that many different answers. And so there's a lot of different ideas of what leadership is. I mean, when I do this live, I hear things like leading by example, providing vision. Um, you know, thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. And so it's this. There's I don't know. I really Here's what I say. I really don't know what is leadership. Like I don't have one definition of true leadership. I think there's so much that makes leaders or leadership. But I do know that there are three things that great leaders do. There's three things that great leaders do. Number one is leaders inspire others. They inspire through creating a vision that other people want to follow. See, the whole idea of leadership is to have people following you. So I think it was John Maxwell says that if you're a leader and you have no one following you, you're simply taking a walk, something like that. And so, look behind you and see who is following you. And as my good friend Luke Kipfer often asks, he says, are you a leader worth following? So, in order to create something that's worth following, you have to learn how to inspire a vision, to inspire people. Um, John Maxwell says leadership is what does he say? Nothing more and nothing less. He has a word, but it's not inspire. Influence. He says leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. And I say that I think it's more than influence. See, influence is an outside force. Influence is like motivation. I hate the word motivation. A lot of people would say I'm a motivational speaker, and I get it and I accept that. But if you motivate an idiot, what do you get? You get a motivated idiot. But if you inspire instead of influence, see, influence means it's an outside force. You can influence for the good or for the bad. You can't inspire someone to like inspiration means it's towards positive, it's towards bettering yourself. And so inspiration comes from within you. Okay. I don't want to have the pressure as a motivational speaker to motivate you, to influence you, to push you when I know that you already have something inside of you that needs to be woke up and inspired. So I believe true leaders know how to turn on that want to button that's inside of the people that follow them. And that's what I think true leadership is. Leaders inspire others, and they figure out how to turn on that want to button, because let's face it, you can influence people to do a lot of things, good or bad. But the moment that you leave, if they create a dependency on that motivation, on that influence, see, motivation does not last forever. But inspiration does. If you're inspired from your inside to change, to develop, to grow, to belong to something, then I did my job as an inspirational speaker instead of a motivational speaker. So that's my little quirk about the word motivation. I don't like to be introduced as a motivational speaker. I want to be known as an inspirational, because I want to inspire you to change, not just motivate you to change. So I have a quote: to be famous is when a lot of different people know you. To be significant is to make a difference in a lot of people you know. And to make a difference in a lot of people you know, you first have to inspire them to want to change. And that's what I mean by waking up that want to button. If you can inspire them to want to do something, then you'll never have to force somebody or influence or motivate somebody to do something. And they don't create that dependency on me or you as a leader. I don't want my people that follow me as a leader, I don't want them to depend on me. I want to be able to point them in the right direction and turn on their want to button and turn them loose and let them be who they are meant to be, whether they're in my organization, whether in my whatever. I don't want people to have to depend on me for their forward movement. So, number one thing that I think leaders do, and forget about trying to figure out what is leadership. Let's figure out what great leaders do. Number one is they inspire others. So, let me ask you a question. When have you last attempted to inspire people that follow you? When was the last time that you tried to find that want to button in your child, and your if you're a pastor, in your church people, if you're a business owner, in your employees, and your when have you tried to figure out how to turn on that want to button? And I'm going to tell you, you can get a lot more done with inspiration than you can with influence. All right. So the number two thing that, and these are not the five actions of a serving leader. We're going to get to that, but these are the things that I came up with, and the five actions are from the book, The Serving Leader. So, I'm asking the question, what is leadership? I'm trying to establish great leadership principles here. So the number one thing that great leaders do is they inspire others. Number two things that great leaders do is they create movements. Okay. Now you might say, well, I only have 5 employees. I only have a small church. I only have a small company. My family's really small. Well, guess what? Movements always start small. And then they become big over time if you inspire, and then you create a movement. And so let's talk about what is a movement. A movement is when you help people see something different than they have ever seen before, and you shift their eyes, you shift their focus, and they start going a different direction. See, a movement is always in a different direction than where you first started. And so your job as a leader is to create movements inside your organization. Whether it's a small business, you're supposed to inspire them with the vision of how your company is going to look in 5 years. And then you start creating movements towards that vision. Leaders create. That's what you are as a leader. You are a creator. I didn't say the creator. I said you are a creator. You are a creator of something that others want to follow. Let me ask you the question again that Luke Kipper often asks. He says, Dave, are you a leader worth following? That puts on a lot of responsibility on a leader. Let's just ask yourself the question. Where I'm leading my people, where you are leading your people. If you're a pastor, if you're a business owner, if you're a father, a mother, where you're going, would you be proud to have the people end up where you're going? And that's why it takes such an intentional effort to create, first of all, inspire, but then to create a movement towards that inspiration. And you have to create something that others want to follow. That you have to create a movement that they says, you know what, I'm going to unhook from this wagon that I'm hooked up to, and I'm going to hook up to this movement because it's going somewhere where I want to go. And here's one thing that set me free a long time ago. Not everybody deserves to go where you want to go. You can't be, your leadership is limited. I've learned so much from like Luke Kipfer, John Stallworth about leadership. Even Jesus' leadership while he was on this earth was limited. He started out with 12 guys and he ended up with 11. So even Jesus' leadership was limited while on this earth. And so to me, that says, wow, because you can't win 100% of the time. In leadership, you're not going to be able to take every person in your organization where you want to go. Some people are not meant to go where you want to go, and you need to be okay with that. But you need to create something that is so powerful, so inspiring, so compelling that people say, I'm going to unhook from this wagon and I'm going to hook my wagon to this train because this is where I want to go. And you can't do that without first inspiring and then creating a movement. And then the third thing that leaders do, ooh, this is so powerful, and I wish you could get this. Third thing that great leaders do is they replace themselves. They replace themselves. Now, you might say, well, what's the purpose of being a leader if you replace yourself? Because that's what leadership is. And Jesus gave us that perfect example. He came down, he created the world. And then you know what he did? He replaced himself. He said, okay, now you be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. In other words, he handed over responsibility. He took what he created and said, I need somebody to manage this, because as a leader, you can't manage everything. You have to have help. You have to replace. You have to give up some of your responsibility to manage what you've created. And you have to say to your employees, to your family, to your church people, whoever you're leading, be fruitful and multiply and replenish. In other words, take what I have given you, take what I've built and make it bigger. And to do that, you have to learn to replace yourself. And so a while back, I studied the concept of relay racing, like the Olympic style relay racing where they have a baton. And I noticed something interesting in my study of what a relay race looks like. And let's say that you and I are in a race. You're my partner and you're going to run first and then come around and I'm going to catch up with you and you're going to hand the baton off to me and then I will run the race. And that's what a relay race is. So let's just say the pistol goes off and you take off running with the baton and you're going around the track, and me as the second person, what do you think I'm doing? Do you think I'm looking up at the grandstands and waving to everybody and looking for my mom and my sister and my brother cheering me on? No, I'm watching you. You are the leader and you're going to replace yourself with me. And so I better have all of my eyes and all of my ears tuned into what you're doing. And I found this really interesting. The person that's waiting for you to come back around and I have to match your speed, I start watching, I start timing, and I start actually clicking my tongue against the roof of my mouth with the pounding of the pavement of your feet. That's what they do. They'll actually start getting in rhythm as you're going around the track, and they'll track your rhythm with the clicking of your tongue. It sounds something like this. As you're pounding your feet, you're getting in a rhythm in your mind so that you know and you track it, because the longer you go, guess what? The slower you get, because the more tired and wore down you get. And so it's important for one reason. That whole idea of tracking your progress and getting into the rhythm of your running stride is important for one reason, and that's because if you don't, you can't hand off the baton. And so as you come around, there's a certain place where when you get to that point, I start running, and guess what? I have to match your speed. I have to gain and then match your speed. And if I don't track your progress, if I don't replace myself, if I don't take the necessary steps in order to be able to line up with you, because if I don't know your rhythm, I might run past you, or I might not run fast enough. So I have to know your rhythm. And then we come around and we meet at a certain point, and then you hand back the baton to me. And in leadership, this is fairly easy to do, is to hand the baton back to me. But you know what's so hard for leaders to do? To let go. A lot of leaders say, hey, get ready. I want you to be the next leader. I want you to be the next manager. I want you to be this. But there hasn't been proper preparation. There hasn't been that matching of the speed, that bringing alongside of within your mindset and the way that we do our business and the way that we lead. And then we say, okay, you're in charge. And then we still have the baton. And guess who has control? If you're in front of me as a leader and you hand the baton back to me, but you don't let go, you can just make a sudden movement and I fall over because it throws me off balance. So the key to replacing yourself is preparing for the handoff, preparing to let go. And here's the thing, do I run exactly the same way that you do? No. My training was different. My upbringing was different. My bone structure is different. My muscles are different. My legs are longer or shorter. And so we all lead differently. And if the leader doesn't let go, you'll never replace yourself. So here's the quote: your leadership is not complete until you create other leaders and you pass the baton to them. In other words, you let go. All right. If I'm speaking to somebody, y'all say amen. I want to make sure you're getting this because this is important. So leadership, we don't really know what it is, but we know three things what they do. Number one, they inspire the people that they follow. Number two, they create a movement towards that inspiration. And then number three, they replace themselves. In other words, they delegate and they bring up other leaders that very likely could be better leaders than themselves. And they're okay with that because leaders eventually replace themselves. That's the idea of leadership. And if you constantly create leaders in your business, what a glorious thing. What a great organization. So now let's get into the 5 actions of a serving leader. So the 5 actions of a serving leader. Number 1 is run to great purpose. Number 2, raise the bar. Number 3, blaze the trail. Number 4, build on the strengths. And I'm not going to tell you what the 5th one is until at the end because it would kind of ruin the whole thing for you. We'll wait till the end, keep you on your toes. Number 1. Run to great purpose. Now, I enjoy hiking so long as it's me watching somebody else hike from YouTube. Okay, so I'm not a hiker. I like the idea of it, but I don't enjoy it. I get out of breath, especially in high altitudes. I'm not a hiker. Leave that to Luke Kipfer. He's a hiker. But for this purpose, this is what I've created in my course called Shift Your Leadership, Your Life, and Your Legacy. I created this story. I want to take you guys hiking. So it's a story that teaches these 5 principles as we go along. So congratulations, you have been chosen to go with me on my hiking adventure, and I handpicked you because of your qualities. I inspired you to go hiking with me, and we created a movement, and now we have several people coming along on this thing, and I'm going to show you how to replace myself as a leader by these 5 actions of a serving leader. All right, let's see. If you're still with me, I can't see you guys, but I can see you on my phone. But if you're still with me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're still with me. It shows that everything's working good, but I'm not seeing any movement on you guys. So just let me know that you're still with me. So congratulations. Let's go hiking. All right. So number 1, action of a serving leader. Now let me just explain something. I thought for a long time that a serving leader, or the idea of servant leadership and that whole thing, was just kind of a fancy way to sell leadership training from a Christian standpoint, because we know Jesus was the ultimate servant. We know that his whole life was about serving. But after understanding, and I kind of pushed it off for a long time, even though some great friends of mine kind of we're in that serving leadership model. But after studying it and hearing, this is what I've discovered, that serving leadership is not about letting the inmates run the prison. It's not about letting you do what you want to and serving you and, oh, you're tired, let me go get you a pillow. That's not what it's all about. A serving leadership serves their people what they need in order to be successful. So in other words, it's like the next level up of what we thought leadership was. It's not Well, I'll tell you a story, and I will explain to you. This story will explain to you what serving leadership really is. So, on my first day of the job, when I moved down to Florida, I was working for a guy named Noah Weiler. He's a good friend of mine. He's still a mentor of mine, one of the best bosses that I've ever worked for in my life. And he taught me something very important. He served me as a leader the very first day. So, the very first day I get to work, I go up the steps to the office, and he meets me out there with the set of brand new keys to a new truck. And he says, "Go sell my stuff." It was a landscape supply company. And he says, "But at 4 o'clock, I want you back here, and I want the truck parked exactly the way it's parked now." And I started looking around, and I realized that, wow, this guy is super particular. I looked at all the semi trucks out back, and they were all lined up. I looked at all the loaders, they were all lined up. I looked at all the tools that was for sale, they were all lined up. I looked at the trucks that I was going to be driving, and there was 3 or 4 trucks, and every one of them were parked the same. Everything was perfect. So I really got the idea that this guy's particular. And so I went out, and I started my job. And at 4 o'clock, I made sure that I was back. And as I was backing into the spot, I made extra care to make sure that I was parking perfectly between the two trucks, made sure the mirrors were lined up, and I double checked, and it was perfect. It was perfect. But I looked out the window, and I saw Noah was out there talking to another employee, and he starts getting nervous. He keeps looking back at me, and he starts squirming, and finally he puts the other employee on hold and starts walking towards me. And by this time, I gathered all my stuff, and I got out, and I started walking towards him. And he comes up to me, had a smile on his face, and he says, "Dave, this is what serving leadership looks like." He says, "Dave, I'm not going to have ever tell you this again because you're a smart guy and you'll get it." He says, and then he didn't say anything. He said, "I'm going to show you something." He turned me around, and that's when I saw that my tires were crooked. I parked perfectly, but my tires were crooked. And then he showed me what a serving leader looks like. He served me well. Okay, this is what he said. "I know that you're capable of 100%. So why would you settle for 98%?" And he pointed back to the truck. "I did almost everything perfectly except for the tires were crooked." Now you might say that's overboard, that's crazy and all that. It was a very teachable moment. It wasn't like he was trying to make me feel small. I felt respected in the whole process. But you know what? A serving leader does not allow the people that they are leading to be mediocre. A serving leader loves you enough to make sure that you're playing at 100% instead of 98%. See, 98% is still losing. If you're capable of 100%, why would you settle for 98%? I'll never forget that. Taught me a valuable lesson. Valuable lesson. That's what a serving leader does. It does not allow you to stay where you're at. It serves you up. It serves you, it challenges you up. A serving leader is not content with your 98%. A serving leader demands better from you. And they give you the tool. They serve you the tools, the information, the knowledge so that you can be successful. So my question is, are you the type of leader that serves, that loves your people enough to not allow them to stay where they're at? That's what a serving leader is. There's some tough people. The serving leaders are actually tougher than what we thought leadership was because they love you too much to allow you to stay where you're at. Okay. So number one is run to great purpose. Let's get back to the hiking. So this is the group that I chose to go hiking. You're in here, so pretend you're one of these people. And this is me. This is the leader here, and I'm telling you that's where we're going. I'm pointing. I'm inspiring you. When I called you up and I said, "Hey, let's go hiking. I have a place. It's beautiful. You've never been there. Humans have never seen the level of nature that we're seeing." And I inspired you to say yes. And then we get there, and I tell you, That's where we're going. That's what I told you about. And so we're hiking to great purpose. I'm telling you why we're going there. I'm telling you not only that it's beautiful, but I'm telling you why I want you to be on this trip. I'm telling you that I want to take you because I don't want you to be where you were. I want you to go where you could go. And so, running to great purpose, there's always a reason why we do something. And a great leader will always hike, will always run to great purpose. There's a reason why we want to go where we're going. And that's what I'm telling you now. I'm telling you, this is why we're doing it. Number two, and I'm going through this really fast. This was actually I think it's like a 8-hour course. So I'm not touching everything here, but I want to get you these things. So the number two action of 5 actions of a serving leader is raise the bar. Okay, so we started on this hike. I told you where we're going. I talked it up. You all bought in, and we're actually going. But guess what? One of you or some of you get tired. We all get tired, and so as a leader, I constantly have to raise the bar. Now, in school in Georgia, where I come from, we used to have a school picnic every year at the end of close to the end of the season, and we would always play this game to where you somebody's holding a stick and you jump over it, and then you raise it up, and then you come back again and you raise it up again, and you're constantly raising the bar. And I hated that game because I was not a good jumper. My cousin Anthony could always jump better. My cousin Julian could always jump higher than I could. And so I started looking at the idea of raising the bar as a bad thing. But in leadership, raising the bar on the people that are following you is a good thing. And I had the wrong mindset about what raising the bar means. See, raising the bar is not to expose your limitations. See, I didn't like to lose. I didn't like to not be able to make it. But it is to exhibit your potential. It's to bring out the best in you. Do you love your people enough to raise the bar to bring out the best in them? That's what a serving leader does. They raise the bar to bring out the best, not to show their limitations, but to exhibit their potential. And if we would all have that mindset around the mentality of raising the bar, the sky's the limit at that point. But everyone has their limit, obviously, but it's to exhibit your strength, not your liability. It's not to show your weakness. So as we were hiking, one of you guys actually got tired and found a rock and said, "I'm done, man. I can't handle this. This is too much. I'm tired. I'm out of breath. I can't go anymore." And as a leader, what do I do at this point? How many of you have ever been in a leadership position where somebody said, "I give up. It's too hard. I can't do it. I'm not making enough money"? What do you do? At that point is where you will become significant or insignificant in the life of that person. Here's what I want you to do. I want one of the greatest quotes in this book that I found was The Serving Leader. It says, "The best reach down is a challenge up." So we're talking about raising the bar. So I'm going to come over there and see, this is what I thought a serving leader would do. "Oh, you poor guy. Let me go get you a pillow because you're tired. I'm serving you." No, a serving leader says, "Get yourself up. You can't get to the top if you stay here. And I'll bet you can't go another 100 feet. I bet you can. I'm going to challenge you up, not out, not down, but up. I'm going to help you to become better. I'm going to pull out the strength that you don't even know you have. I'm going to pull out the qualities that you don't even understand that you have, because I love you too much to allow you to stay on this rock. I love you too much to allow you to stay here and not experience what we're going to experience." And so a great leader will always raise the bar. We get to a certain level and we think that we've plateaued. A great leader will say, "You know what? There's more. Oh, but wait, there's more. There's another level. And I want you to reach it because it's not the top yet. Guess what? We always challenge up. We always challenge you to become better as a serving leader. So, number three, action of a serving leader is you blaze the trail. So, we went hiking. We inspired you. We got you all excited about this hiking trip. We started off. Somebody got tired. I raised the bar. I help you to become better. I help you to go farther than you ever thought you could go. And now, since you're seeing new territory and the air is changing, you're getting more energy and you're actually seeing that, wow, we can do this because a leader believes in you. And what does a serving leader do at that point? At this point in the hike, I know that you are all getting tired. I know that you're all getting blisters, and I love you too much to not know what's ahead. And so I go ahead as a leader and I look for obstacles. I look for things that can slow you down and I want to remove them. I want to make it as easy for you as possible because I love you too much to not allow you to reach the top. A serving leader always blazes the trail. And this is what it looks like. A serving leader is willing to get blisters on their feet, to get thistles in their sides, to make so that the people that they're leading have an easier trail. Blazing the trail, remove the obstacles. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. So as leaders, we have to do the hard things. We can't expect to be a leader and be behind our people. You're not a leader. You're a follower if you're behind somebody. A leader goes ahead and we remove the obstacles. Because I love you too much to allow you not to win in life, in business, in church, in marriage. I love you too much to allow you to stay where you're at or to suffer unduly or to struggle through something that you don't have to struggle with. Okay? That's why your vision, your inspiration has to be so compelling that it actually keeps you going as a leader. Not only just your people, but it also serves as listen, I want to go there more than anything else in the world. I just don't want to go alone. So you have to go somewhere and blaze a trail. Number four, you have to build on strengths. See, there's a reason why I handpicked you to go hiking on this little hike with me. It's because you have talents. You have abilities. Some of you know how to cook. We need food on this trail. Some of you know how to pitch a tent. Somebody knows how to start a fire. So I handpicked you because your talents are great. And so I saw your strength as a cook, as a tent builder, as a fire starter. I saw that, and guess what? I actually sent you off to a school before you came on the hike to even become better. I want to build on that strength. But here's what happens in a lot of leadership situations, in a lot of businesses. So before we get there, let me just cover this. 3 ways to build on strengths. Number one, you got to name the strength. So it's simply, listen, John, I see that you're really good at cooking. So John, you're going to be the cook. All right. And so you name that strength. And then what you do, you apply that strength. You put them in a position so that they can win. If you want to be an astronaut, you got to get out of veterinary school. All right, so you have to put them in a position where they can use their strengths to accomplish what you need to have accomplished. And then number 2 is you train the strength. You actually help them become stronger in that area, a better cook, a better fire starter, a better tent builder. You actually train them. You know, like if you show a slant towards sales, don't send them to accounting school. Send them to sales school. Send them to me. I'll train them to how to be a better salesperson. Okay. So those are the 3 things. Train the strength. And so I love this picture. This is a screenshot of the movie Castaway. It's Tom Hanks. He was had a plane crash or something happened. He was on an island, and this is the first time he made fire. And so here's the deal: if I'm good at making a fire, don't put me on the tent building team. If I'm good at doing something, don't table that and say, learn how to do this. Build on the strengths of your people. Do you love your people enough to know what they're good at, to know their strength? And a good leader gets to know his people. And a good leader always puts them in a position where they can win. Not so that I can win, because if they win, I naturally win. And so what happens a lot of times, a tent builder is really a good fire maker, but we got it mixed up, and now they're both looking at each other and saying, you don't know what you're doing. Now there's two frustrated people, and we still don't have a tent, and we still don't have a fire. And so that's how a dysfunctional team is started, is because we haven't developed or understood or gotten to know, or what I call loving our people enough to understand them and know their strengths. And so the quote again is, if I'm good at making fire, don't put me on the tent building team. Give me a position that I can win and help me become better in that position. Because we all know that if we enjoy what we do, if we're good at what we do, we enjoy it. And if we enjoy it, we become better. And who doesn't want to have a better salesperson? Who doesn't want to have a better marketing person? Who doesn't want to have a better accountant, a better husband, a better wife? So in your mind, we're getting to point number 5 now. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to draw a pyramid in your mind, or if you're at a desk, just draw a pyramid, just like it is on the screen. All right, you got it. All right, so leadership is at the top, right? Okay, so leadership is at the top, and if leadership is at the top, managers would be in the bottom, and then employees in the middle, and then employees on the bottom. That is the typical model of most leadership or businesses out there. You have the leaders up in the ivory tower, you have the mid-level as the managers, and then you have the employees, and then below the employees is where the customers interface with the company. That's the typical model. All right. So as you can see, and you've probably experienced this if you work for a company that's modeled like this, which most people are. Here is a quote: leadership and influence always rises. You hear terms like he rose to leadership. Okay, so leadership and influence always rises, so position yourself accordingly. Whether you're a leader or whether you're an employee, understand that leadership and influence always trickles up. It rises. So position yourself accordingly. So if you're a leader, where do you need to be in order to make leadership happen and to influence yourself? Now, in this model, in the typical business model, and the typical church model, and the typical restaurant model, leadership is at the top. And if leadership and influence always rises, guess who gets the benefit of that leadership? Not your managers, not your employees, not even your customers, because your customers are below them. And so I say that what we thought was leadership is actually force and dictatorship, and you do it because I told you, because I'm the guy at the top, or I'm the gal at the top, and I make the decisions. You don't jump unless I tell you. That kind of a mentality. And so what a lot of us have experienced in corporate America, in small businesses, in church, and sometimes even in marriage, is this top leadership where they're not being effective as a leader. They can be a good dictator, maybe, or a good what I call muscle person. They can force you to do something. That we talked about motivation. This is what I'm talking about. But inspiration, where is that? Okay, so here's another quote: force and dictatorship always goes down. The blanket of oppression is heavy. You hear the you almost feel the weight as I talk about this. So people that are in a dictatorship, that live under a dictatorship, are they oppressed, or are they thriving? No. Only people that are thriving are the people that are the dictators. They're at the top. All right. They don't care about what's below them. They're getting what they want. So if that's the case, force and dictatorship, goes through the managers, goes down to the employees, and eventually goes to the customers because the employees and the customers interface in most companies. And guess who's on the other side of the clients? Your referrals, your new clients, the people that you don't even serve yet, but they're on the bottom side of the bottom. Okay? So we see that this is the dilemma. This model of leadership has been around for years, and it's top down leadership, and so there's a problem because I want my leadership to influence my company, my sphere, my pyramid of influence. I want my managers to have the tools that they need to be super successful. I want them to succeed. I want them to win. I want them to play at 100%, not 98%. And so something is wrong with this model of leadership. And I'd say about 90% of all companies are using this model. So what is the answer? All right. So somebody type in, what's the answer, Dave? Type it in really fast. What's the answer? The answer is number 5. There's a reason why I didn't tell you what it is. It's upend the pyramid. Turn it upside down. So in your mind, if you're not able to write it down, draw the same pyramid, just turn it upside down. Just turn it upside down. And guess what? If leadership and influence always rises, guess who gets the benefit? Your managers do, because you're challenging them up. You're challenging them up. You're helping them become a better person. You're helping them become more successful, more efficient. You're asking them, what do I need to do? How can I serve you to become better? And guess what the managers do? The manager will do the same thing to the employees. And guess what the employees will do? They will do the same thing to their clients, to the clients. Guess what the clients will do? They will do the same thing to your referrals, and it becomes this cycle of business, of success, of wealth. It becomes, if you have your leadership right, this is going to happen to you. And guess what? Some of the greatest companies, Toyota, adapted this style of leadership, the serving leadership model, where the leadership is propping up, they're supporting. It's kind of like a quarterback and then the line, that's, if you don't have the front end right, if you don't have, this is the counter, the front of the counter is right here. Your customers see your employees. And if they're under force or dictatorship, do you think they can interface with your clients well? Do you think that they can serve them well with a great customer experience? No, because they're under force or dictatorship. But when you serve your people, when you help them and you serve them well, you love them too much to be mediocre, and you give them the tools that they need to be successful, guess what happens? Everyone thrives. Everyone experiences that leadership. The Chick-fil-A uses this model. Even parts of the military are starting to use this model of serving leader. You can get a lot of stuff done from top down, but you miss one of the most important things in leadership, and that's turning on that want-to button. See, muscle can move a lot. Motivation, force, telling people what to do, or it's my way or the highway, can accomplish a lot. There's hundreds, thousands of companies. There's kingdoms that were built with top-down leadership, and you can accomplish a lot. But when you activate the want-to button through inspiration, nothing can stop that company. It's a powerful concept. When you serve your people with proper leadership and helping them be successful, you turn on their want-to button. And it's not depending on you forcing them to do something, but they want to do it. There's a quote, I think it was Dwight D. Eisenhower said, leadership is the art of getting other people to do what you want them to do, but them wanting to do it. So if leadership and influence always rises, force and dictatorship always goes down, guess what? You have to vent sometimes as a leader. You have to let it go sometime, but let it out where nobody is affected by it. All right. So that is the key. That is the 5 actions of a serving leader. Run to great purpose, raise the bar, challenge them up. In other words, blaze the trail, go ahead, remove obstacles that are going to be slowing your people down from success, and figure out what they're good at. Understand and get to know them good enough to know what they're strong at, their strength zone is, and then put them in that position. And then turn the pyramid upside down and allow your influence, allow your love, allow your leadership to affect your whole company. See, leadership does not trickle down. Leadership pushes people up. Leadership is not down, it goes up. And so your job as a leader is to lift your people to success, not push them down so that you can stay at the top, but you're switching spots with them and you're pushing them to success. And your customers are going to love you for it. Your employees are going to love you for it. Your referrals are going to love you for it. And that is the key to great leadership. And shifting your leadership is upending the pyramid. Now, aren't you glad? Aren't you glad that I, as your leader, did not allow you to stay on that rock? Didn't allow you to play at 98%, because right now you've experienced what I promised you. You're experiencing the fact that you're somewhere nobody has ever been before. And I made a significant difference in the life of you as your leader. And so, again, the quote is, to be famous is when a lot of different people know you, but to be significant is to when you make a difference in a lot of people you know. And that's the secret of leadership, is making a difference in the people that you lead. And you can do that by serving them, loving them, not allowing them to be mediocre. And that's my goal for you as a leader. And I wanted to come on and share with you. I went way longer than what I was going to, but I love this. I love this idea, and I want you to be a serving leader. Go out and get this book. It's by John Stallworth and Kenneth Jennings, The Serving Leader. It's a great book. I've learned a lot from it. I love you. God bless you. And remember, serve your people well. Be a leader. And we'll see you later. Thank you. God bless you.